Good morning, friends. Namaskar and Sat Sri Akal Adab. This is my 252nd video, and this will also cover the same issues which has been pending for the last 2-3 years, that the government has decided for excision of cantonments. So if people in chronologically have watched my videos, they will understand what is the terms and conditions or the modalities fixed by the Defense Department or the Ministry of Defense for the excision of these 57 or plus 5 cantonments. So now this report was shared by a bungalow owner on the WhatsApp group, and this was a letter written by the DG to all the principal directors, South, West, North, East, Central commands on 27th June 2024. So he is sending a report which was jointly done, a board proceeding with the Defense Secretary in the South Block, New Delhi. So various liabilities were discussed, and this letter says the proprietary rights and assets how have to be changed. So get in touch with the PDs, the DOs and COs must formulate this policy, and the entire civil area should be handed over to the state municipality. So we'll discuss it in length. This is just a covering letter, and this letter further talks of a letter Government of India, Department of Defense, Ministry of Defense, Sena Bhavan, New Delhi, 27th June 2024, to all the chief secretaries of the states where cantonments are placed. So it is very surprising. Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Telangana, Karnataka, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Haryana is not a part of it. Punjab is not a part of it. Just imagine. And you have cantonments in these states. Himachal has been taken. So this policy says there was a board proceedings held under the chairmanship of the Defense Secretary, and on 25th June 2024 at 16 hours. So now the minutes of the board proceedings, what do they say? So we'll have to go one by one. What is this minute saying? It was attended by the Army Headquarters, DG Lands and representative of 9 states of the level of secretaries and DCs. So the purpose of the meeting was that the present regime of government was looking to overcome the colonial mindset and wanted to remove these cantonments out. The executives and the legislatives can say anything. I'm quite happy that after 10 years of the present government, they have realized in their third term that okay, fine, the colonial mindset should be removed. Instead, the story is something different. It is basically that the army does not want this financial burden of civil area on its exchequer, because the grants given to the Ministry of Defense, a lot of big chunk is used for 62 cantonments. So they want to abolish this financial liability. So this colonial mindset and this, good, let it be done. I appreciate all this. Fine. Finally, so this is a do and die situation now. For whom? Not just alone the civil area, but even the bungalow area. So you just can't sleep over this. You can't behave like the typical Indian rulers prior to the Britishers when they landed in India or Bharat. You have to work hard, exploit all your contacts. There are very powerful bungalow owners sitting. Please exploit your contacts. But exploit them on an educated platter. Don't exploit them on a whimsy grounds. So please, all bungalow owners, get together, fix these relations, have meetings, try and understand these issues. If you want, you can talk to me. I'm there. I can explain you on a very brief note. So what is the thing has to be done? There are a lot of political people locally involved in these cantonments, MLAs, ex-MLAs, or politically powerful people living in these cantonments. Why don't they call up to their DCs and local existing MLAs and MPs? So this all needs to be done. Now the Defence Secretary in this board proceeding says there are two separate issues. One issue is of the land which is required to be given to the local authority for infrastructure or public purpose, which can be looked in, he says, because Sagar cantonment and some other big cantonments have raised this issue that we are not only just looking for civil areas, we even need surplus land or freehold or the surplus land or land which is not covered or resumed or acquired by anybody. So the Defence Secretary is saying don't mix this. In the past also, prior to this proposal of accession, we've been giving land to the local governments for public purpose. I in one of my videos said that in Ambala cantonment, civil aviation airport had to be created, so the ministry sold the property to the state government. So is the state government going to buy these properties? Then why take accession? This is for the district collectors and the local MLAs and MPs to understand. If the government has to, the Ministry of Defence has to remain with that very policy of its, which the Defence Secretary in this board proceeding is saying, then why take these lands? Please don't make a feasibility report that what is the tax collection you are going to do and what is the expenditure which you will incur to give civic amenities to these cantonments which will be excised, or the civil area which will be excised. Please DCs, you must need to watch all this, and MLAs and local politicians. So now the Defence Secretary says that is a separate issue, we will look into it. So let's not mix these two things. This is a proposal for the reforms of the Ministry of Defence. Now he says this was a proposal to remove the colonial mindset. Now in the board proceedings in writing, he is saying it is for the reforms of the ministry. What reforms? Let us know those reforms. The reform is that the ministry is shunning us out and they do not want to take this liability of expenditure to be spent on this. And the purpose is given is that Ronnie Ji or the system or the DC, that because these cantonment lands belong to government, so the benefits proposals or the policies or the grants of the central or the state cannot reach the cantonment. Who said that? You are not transferring land either now. The land will not become of the state government. Whom are you trying to fool? This is a very big question. So, well, this policy, he says, should continue and let accession take place for the benefit of the civil people. Three things have come up from the board meeting. The Defence Secretary is saying because the Prime Minister wants to remove the colonial mindset. Third, he says the MOD already has a proposal, if for public purpose the land is required by the state government, it can be always given, but that will be given on market rate. Third, he says we want reforms in the ministry. Now, fourth, he is saying here that let this proposal be accepted by the state government as we are imposing on to you with our modalities and proposed conditions. You accept it because you are the younger brother, we are the elder brother. Please, state departments, I request you, I request all MLAs and MPs and local powerful bungalow owners and residents, don't let this happen. Now he writes, Raksha Mantri wrote all letters to the Chief Ministers of State to expedite the accession. Well, accepted. DC is stating that accession will be done if civil area and this doing is non-negotiable. Defence Secretary is saying, sorry, you are imposing this, that means on the State Department. Like it was imposed in 1957 Agra, now in 1977 Ambala. Meaning that this simple happens for show what the terms are known or given to the department. So that the army or the Defence Secretary wants the local state municipalities to accept on an as and where basis these proposed accessions. The Defence Secretary further goes on in talking to the state executives and chief ministers and have been asking them to consider the proposal in a right perspective. Well, good, right perspective. What is the right perspective? Give us free culture to make laws, bylaws for ourselves. Let the FCI or the FAR be decided by the state government. Let the sale and purchase be done by the government. There should be no building restrictions. There should be no restriction for change of land use. For everything you are demanding 50% of money. What are you actually giving us? It is something like you are shunning from your pocket your liability and you are saying, okay, fine, this is a debt, yeah, we can't afford this debt now. So you take this debt from us. Okay, we'll take your debt, but you reimburse that money to us for that taking of your debt. The Ministry of Defence is not going to reimburse the state government for next 50 years the expenditures incurred for the amenities of civil. So many questions need to be asked. So Defence Secretary is trying to state in its order, or the Prime Minister and states will have to take over the cantonments with all the liabilities. Now here there is a catch. Do you know what the Ministry of Defence and the departmental officers sitting in the DG lands have been working for the last good some 1985 onward, mainly after 2013-12? They have exorbitantly increased the land value of cantonments, because they wanted to punish people on STR. So they've influxed static rates, collector rates on lands, and now they are saying because these land values are very huge, running into thousands of crores, so the liability becomes 1%. Let's say if I have a property which is for market selling price 100 rupees, but I calculate that market value for the next 30 years, this value would be 250 rupees. So 150 rupees is an assumption. Now when I am handing over my 100 rupees liability, I am telling the person, look, you are taking my liability of 100 rupees, but this property values 250 rupees. It will value for the next 20 years, but in that next 20 years, I will have to do all the civic amenities expenditures. That has to be understood. And I know people sitting, the IAS officers and the administrators, executives are very well educated. They know everything. Now, this state of affair, we excised area residents be prepared for hell. Hill cantonments, forget about water and electricity or good roads, accessible roads from the main roads of the station, because these things will all fall in the jurisdiction of the now local administration. So whether will you get water, I know a lot of hill cantonments yet tankers have to be transported to their houses for normal water. Even today the cantonment boards don't provide 24 hours water. So what are we reading through this first 4-5 paras of the board meeting? The Defence Secretary in turn is actually threatening the state administration because the liabilities have to be taken over and it is the desire of the Prime Minister. So you will have to take these civil area of the cantonments, whether liabilities, whether not, we are not giving you the mathematics. So most of the BJP ruled states will tend to, because it's a double engine sarkar, they will adhere to the Prime Minister's desire. Will Telangana, will Himachal Pradesh, these are the cantonments where we can raise our issues. I am very happy that Saga cantonment, still being ruled by BJP, has done this. So we have to understand, we are getting nothing. The state government will actually treat us like a liability. Trust me, 47 years we've been facing in Ambala. So the MOD will transfer all lands after claiming 50% of sales. House tax levied or any octroi or any entry tax, 50% has to go to the MOD. So MOD and the Defence Secretary are stating that 36 cantonments presentation was made, out of which 31 cantonments are ready for the same proposal. Well, are the state governments done? So gazette has already been done for 10. This video will be coming in days. Those gazettes have been done by survey numbers, not by boundary pillars. What are you trying to say? My property survey number has been excised, but my road protruding to my property is yet with the Ministry of Defence or the Cantonment Board. So this is, I would call it quite a fool's paradise. 7 broad guidelines. Property rights of all assets for providing civil amenities and services and taxes will be transferred to the state. That you have to do it. Assets and liabilities will be transferred to the states. Municipal cover or leases on old grand bungalows will also be transferred. But what does the MOD or the Defence Secretary thinks? That the state governments are dying to take over these liabilities from MOD. And who will make sure that even the revenue generations from these lands or areas should meet out the expenditure which the Cantonment Board is doing for now? Let's take the balance sheet of the Cantonment Board for the last 3 years before acquisition. Or otherwise, will there be a financial arrangement between the MOD and the state government to provide these civic amenities to the and services to the excited area? No. 8th, the MOD and the Defence Secretary states that proprietary rights on all the assets will be given to the state government to meet out its financial burdens. What are these financial burdens? Rest area will be converted into military stations. So please, bungalow owners, listen to this in the board proceeding in 2024. Government of India own title rights over land, the same shall be retained by Government of India. So what is being transferred? यार प्लीज़ आप सब लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट है, मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ बिकॉज बहुत लोग मुझे बोलते हैं रोनी जी हिंदी में भी थोड़ा सा बोला करो। भैया क्या ट्रांसफ़र हो रहा है, क्यों इतनी खुशी मना रहे हो, लड्डू बांट रहे हो? भैया ये लड्डू मीठे नहीं है, ये लॉलीपॉप मीठी नहीं है। अपने डीसी को, अपने एमएलए को जगाओ। ये लायबिलिटी ट्रांसफर हो रही है आपके पास, जो हमारे पास 1977 में अंबाला में हुई थी। फॉर सिक्योरिटी रीजंस it will be looked into that the army will always make a note for anything to be done in this excised area. What is to be, I'll share it with you because I'm a victim. They'll not let you do construction above particular height. Your FAR will not be increased. What do you people understand by FAR? Your built up area. Let's say you have a 500 square yard plot, they'll say you can only construct 70-60% of it, that also in 3 tiers. So please yaar guys, understand. I'm again and again saying the army does not want these civil areas now anymore. It is not your leader's qualities or your leader's representation or somebody talking we've done this, achieving. Nobody can thump his chest. It is basically the army now doesn't want you. Nothing has changed their mindset. They are saying the balance which will be left will be converted into a military station. Who will bear this burden? Will the state government willingly accept that we are ready to bear this exchequer expenditure on the civil area which is to be done? Ask these questions. So these discussions have to be held in a closed door with all the representations of civil area as well as the bungalow area. Now, clause 9 it says Uttarakhand, again a BJP ruled state, Clementown, Dehradun has 2 issues have been resolved. What about Landore? What about Ranikhet? What about Almora? What about Nainital? What about Lansdowne? Those issues are being discussed. And the second issue raised in this area was that who will take the employees of Dehradun and Clementown? What about the litigation which is already in pendency? So again, Madhya Pradesh, Murar has agreed. What about the other cantonments? I am talking of Sagar. Here is the question. The principal secretary who was representing Sagar Housing and Urban Development informed that 4,116 acres, 0.59 is with the cantonment right now. Only 181.64 acres is being transferred. Why? He said. What will be the purpose of the state municipality then of handling 181.64 already covered built up area? So he says we need minimum 2,000 to retain our expenditure. give us all bungalow area which is towards the civil side, give us free land so that we can cultivate that land and generate revenue. So the Defence Secretary very clearly said that the whole civil area along with the bungalow area is now proposed to be transferred in Sagar Cantonment. Big achievement, Sagar people. This can be done for rest of the cantonments. But here again the catch is, the title of the land still remains with the government. That's the Ministry of Defence. So let's see if there is any special order to be passed. But he has asked the Joint Secretary of the MOD to get in touch with the state representatives of the Sagar and work out the new proposal from 181 to approximately 2000 acres. Good enough. Now coming to the most vital, this is one cantonment where two people have been, raking up this issue. Ronnie ji, Sikandrabad is freehold. Now this is another Telangana cantonment in the Congress ruled state. The representative here is willing, and he says the proposal has not been sent by the CODOs to the state government yet. But the state government has already made a feasible report. When we will take Sikandrabad, what will we do? So that means, please, it is especially for these two bungalow owners who are running the association. That means Sikandrabad is also being transferred as a Ministry of Defence land. So please, your GLR is not speaking private properties. Okay. Wake up. Now Sikandrabad, the Defence Secretary has said the CO has made the proposal and he will share it with the state government on an immediate factor. Rajasthan, Ajmer and Nazirabad have agreed. So these are the cantonments which are going forward. I don't have much to say because these are the cantonments. Ajmer, most of the bungalows are private properties because Ajmer was one of the very old cantonments, but at one stage it was abandoned. Nazirabad came up after independence for its notification. Himachal Pradesh is now coming to Baklok, Dakshai, Dalhousie, Jitok, Kasauli and Sabatu. Friends, I'll raise this issue, Dalhousie. The Dalhousie MP, way back in 2014, I think 11 or 12, she fought with the state government and the centre, and at that time she got her entire leases and Dalhousie cantonments converted into freehold on a very meager amount of 200 rupees. Has anybody tried to dig into that? Go to sit down in the legislative of the Himachal government. Dig into this. So you have to understand, so the additional director urban development, Himachal government was a representative. He says the district collectors concerned are awaiting these proposals from the COs. So Ministry of Defence has said that we are sending it, we are doing it. Please, भैया आप ये कसौली वाले और डक्षाई वाले लोग, सबाटू वाले लोग थोड़ा सा जाग जाओ, अपनी लोकल एमएलए को पकड़ो, उसको बोलो ये लायबिलिटी हमने नहीं लेनी है जब तक आपको बंगलो एरिया भी नहीं आएगा, फ्री लैंड भी नहीं आएगी, डक्षाई की, डलहौजी की, जो स्कूल्स बने हुए हैं वहाँ पे वो भी आप अपने पास ट्रांसफ़र कराओ. ये जागो. Jharkhand, Ramgarh, additional urban development secretary was representing. So he says, why not transfer schools to us? Why only just the liabilities of employees and pensioners? So Defence Secretary says we will work on this. So every person is picking up some new issues. Now coming to Maharashtra, Ahmednagar, Aurangabad, Deolali, Pune, Kirki and Kamptee. These were represented and the whole state was represented by Deputy Secretary of the Urban Development. Aurangabad and Deolali are under consideration. Competent authorities have made all demands. Deolali cantonment for solid waste management, they require additional land. So see, everybody is raising issues concerned to them and what the local administration or the local people raise. आप भी करो ये सब. Abhi proposal for Kamptee, Kirki still awaited. So Defence Secretary is saying look into it. Karnataka now Belgaum, the Secretary Urban Development was there. He says the State Department with the Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Defence, they have apprised each other and there is a model code of conduct on account of Lok Sabha. This is he is mentioning during that period when elections were going on. The same will be shared with the state government. The COs have created everything and somebody shared it with me. Rajan, I think he said कि जी there has been a board proceeding. Please आप वहाँ पे कोरे जी को और बड़े लोगों को पकड़ो और उनको कहो भैया ये पहले कंटोनमेंट बोर्ड अपनी ना फाइनेंशियल बैलेंस शीट दे बेलगाम कंटोनमेंट की, उस सिविल एरिया की जो वो एक्साइज करना चाहता है कि वो क्या रेवेन्यू जनरेट करता है और क्या उसको सिविक कम्युनिटीज़ देने के खर्चे होते हैं। अगर ये चीज़ नहीं पता चलेगी तो ये सारी प्रपोजल बड़ी बेकार, सिर्फ बाप बदल जाएगा। तो भैया बेलगाम वाले पीपल जरा थोड़ा सा जाग जाओ, वहाँ पे तो बहुत पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं। एक वो हैं क्या नाम है मिस्टर जिन्होंने मेरे को इनवाइट करा था, वो तो आई थिंक ही सेज आई हैव बीन एन अंडर सेक्रेटरी इन द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सम डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। भैया जागो ना, जागो, बोलो। उत्तर प्रदेश बबीना, शाहजहांपुर, मथुरा, फतेहगढ़ एंड मेरठ की एक मेरे को बड़ी अच्छी चिट्ठी एमएलए की आई है, शेयर करी है किसी ने, बट वो फिर रिप्रेजेंटेशन है। हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं एक्चुअली, हमारे एमएलएज एमपीज या हमारी जो पब्लिक है वो एक रिप्रेजेंटेशन देती है, साहब ऐसा ना करो वैसा ना करो। भैया मुद्दों की बात करो, टॉक लॉजिक। साहब हमारे को ये नहीं चाहिए, ये 100 रुपए की चीज हमें सूट नहीं करती क्योंकि ये बिकती तो 90 रुपए की है। हमें 10 रुपए का घाटा नहीं खाना है। आप हमको 100 रुपए की चीज दे रहे हो, 90 में बिकती है तो 10 रुपए आप रीइंबर्स करो हमें, हम आपको उसके 90 रुपए देंगे। ये लीगैलिटी। और सेक्शन 3(4) में क्या लिखा हुआ है? डीलिमिटाइजेशन, एक्सिशन नहीं लिखा हुआ है। सिविल एरिया डिफाइन करो, 233 के अंदर एक मास्टर प्लान बनवाओ सीओ से, तब जाके ये ट्रांसफर्स कराओ। शाहजहांपुर में आई रिमेंबर, सॉरी देयर वाज एवरीथिंग शेयर्ड टू मी, कुछ नहीं हो रहा। वही सिविल एरिया उठाया निकाल दिया, वहाँ पे एक देयर इज अ मुस्लिम फैमिली हु सेज द एंटायर शाहजहांपुर वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ देयर रेजिम। वो लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं। कल को ये लीगैलिटीज अम्बाला के अंदर गांव वाले लड़ रहे हैं। चलो अम्बाला तो इस लिस्ट में है ही नहीं, जलंधर इस लिस्ट में है ही नहीं, फिरोजपुर इस लिस्ट में है ही नहीं, अमृतसर था पर अमृतसर पंजाब की कोई रिप्रेजेंटेशन ही नहीं गई। हो क्या रहा है? It has been decided to seek views of the MPs and MLA concerned before finalizing the report. The same will be done in 10 days. This is for UP, it is saying. भैया बीजेपी की सरकार है, डबल इंजन की सरकार है, सारे MPs MLA को जगा दो भैया प्लीज़। ये सिचुएशन अगर रह गई और एक्सिशन हो गया तो जो कंटोनमेंट में जिसको लोग सोच रहे हैं ना हम रह जाएंगे उस तरफ, समझ लो आपकी गर्दन कट गई। अब आप वेंटिलेटर पे जियोगे अगले जितने भी 2, 5, 10 साल, जब तक आर्मी आपके बंगले को या आपकी प्रॉपर्टी को रिज्यूम नहीं कर लेगी। तो ये सारे व्यूज़ डिसाइड हुए, 2 हफ्तों का समय दिया गया। द कंक्लूजन वॉज दीज मोडालिटीज़ वुड बी डिस्कस्ड। बट मैं सिर्फ ये क्यों आपको, मैंने ये विद ऑल माई गट्स आई मेड पब्लिक दिस रिपोर्ट, बिकॉज ये बहुत ज़रूरी है लोगों को जानना कि हो क्या रहा है मिनिस्ट्री में, चल क्या रहा है वहाँ। सो द नेम्स ऑफ द एनेक्चर इज दैट हु अटेंडेड, इट इज़ द डिफेंस सेक्रेटरी श्री गिरधर अरमाने, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस LNW मिस्टर राकेश मित्तल, श्रीमती सुमित्रा देवी डायरेक्टर्स लैंड की तरफ से, राकेश कुमार शाह जॉइंट डायरेक्टर, डेजिग्नेटेड श्री GS श्रीनिवासन DG लैंड, सोनम यंडोल जी, अरविंद कुमार त्रिवेदी जी, ये सब DG की साइड से थे। आर्मी की साइड से लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल VM कृष्णन थे, लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल विकास रोहेला थे, कर्नल अक्षुत सूर्यवंशी थे, कर्नल लैंड पॉलिसी एंड प्लानिंग। ये सारे तेलंगाना से चीफ सेक्रेटरी श्रीमती शांति कुमार एंड श्री दाना किशोर, मध्य प्रदेश से श्री नीरज मंडलोई प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी, उत्तराखंड से मिसेस राधा रतौरी, मिसेस नितिन भदौरी एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी अर्बन डेवलपमेंट, राजस्थान से हरीश चंद्र एंड टी रवि खान, उत्तर प्रदेश से सत्य प्रकाश पटेल स्पेशल सेक्रेटरी अर्बन डेवलपमेंट, हिमाचल प्रदेश से श्री जगन ठाकुर एडिशनल डायरेक्टर अर्बन डेवलपमेंट, महाराष्ट्र से सुशीला पवार डिफेंस डिप्टी सेक्रेटरी अर्बन डेवलपमेंट एंड मिस्टर मनोज रानड़े, झारखंड से ज्ञानेंद्र कुमार जी एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी अर्बन डेवलपमेंट, कर्नाटका से मिसेस दीपा सेक्रेटरी अर्बन डेवलपमेंट, पंजाब हरियाणा तो खैर निकाल ही दिया इन्होंने, तो है ही नहीं कोई रिप्रेजेंटेशन। सो जागो लोगो प्लीज़, ये बात को समझो, ये बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट इशू चल रहा है इस टाइम एक्सिशन का, और इस एक्सिशन के बाद हमारे पास कुछ नहीं रहेगा लड़ने को, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट इस सारे एक्सिशन में एक बात बड़ी क्लियर बोल रही है कि लैंड नहीं ट्रांसफर करूंगी मैं, लैंड मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस की रहेगी। तो हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली हम सेंट्रल पूल में रहेंगे, हम स्टेट सब्जेक्ट ऑफ द लैंड नहीं बनेंगे कभी भी। तो अगर लैंड फ्री होल्ड भी करी जाएगी हमें, तो उसका 50% मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस को जाएगा। सो हमें मिल क्या रहा है भैया? डीसी एसडीएम सब जाग जाओ, तहसीलदार रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड बना लो, एक छोटा सा एक बैलेंस शीट मांग लो डीसी साहब, एमएलए साहब कुछ मत करो, रिप्रेजेंटेशन बहुत बना लेंगे। आप सिर्फ एक काम करो, सीओ को सारों को बोलो कि भैया आप अपनी बैलेंस शीट दे दो पिछले 3 साल की, कि आप ये जो सिविल एरिया हमारे को निकाल रहे हो इसका क्या आप रेम्यूनरेशन लेते हो, हाउस टैक्स, और क्या आपकी इसके ऊपर सिविक कम्युनिटीज पे खर्चे होते हैं, आपको क्रिस्टल क्लियर पता चल जाएगा। लीज मनी में आप क्या लीज मनी लोगे? क्या आप लोगों से करोड़ों रुपया लीज मनी या लाखों रुपया साल का किराया ले सकोगे? आपका लोकल एमएलए या एमपी नहीं लेने देगा, पॉलिसी ड्राफ्ट होंगी, प्रेशर्स आएंगे। तो 10 रुपए की चीज बिकी ना 5 रुपए में, 8 रुपए में। गवर्नमेंट मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेंस अपनी बैलेंस शीट ठीक करने के लिए कि हमारे पास तो 30,000 करोड़ की जमीनें हैं, वो अपनी बैलेंस शीट तो ठीक कर रही है। पर बड़ी मजे की बात है, यही मिनिस्ट्री जब कानपुर में जमीन देती है, एक नोटिफिकेशन आता तो कहती है 1 रुपए पे दे दो एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया को। अगर एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया आगे किसी को सबलेट करती है तो 20 रुपए पर स्क्वायर यार्ड पे दे दो 30 साल के लिए, वहां तो कोई 5 साल का कलेक्टर रेट नहीं लगेगा। अभी फैजाबाद में चल रही है प्रपोजल, कानपुर में हो चुकी है। सो कब लोग जागेंगे? भूल जाओ मेरठ में क्या हुआ था 1843 में, 1822 में, भूल जाओ क्या हुआ था, कौन सा राजा राज करता था आपकी कंटोनमेंट को अभी फिलहाल के लिए। अभी सिर्फ प्रेजेंट की बात करो, लीगल, व्हाट डज रूल 3-4 से? Why can't, if we are being transferred, land has to be also transferred to us? नहीं तो हमें लेने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है लायबिलिटी। हमें एफएआर की राइट चाहिए, हमें कंस्ट्रक्शन का राइट चाहिए, हमें चेंज ऑफ लैंड यूज का राइट चाहिए, हमें फ्री होल्ड करने का राइट चाहिए। आप अपने पब्लिक को, एमएलए कल को फिर उठ के आएगा एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर पे, हम 47 साल से अंबाला में ये फेस कर रहे हैं प्रॉब्लम। आगरा वालों को तो बहुत ही बुरा हाल है, वहां तो म्यूटेशन नहीं होती, एनओसी नहीं आता डिफेंस डीओ आगरा से, जो नीमचर इलाका अलग हुआ। सो भैया जाग जाओ यार, नहीं जागोगे तो भैया बंगलो ओनर प्लीज हाथ जोड़ रहा हूं, अगर कोई कॉन्टैक्ट्स हैं, कोई रिलेशंस हैं, एमएलए, एमपी, सीएम, कोई आईएएस अफसर, कोई ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, कोई मिनिस्ट्री में, कोई प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स ऑफिस के अंदर ढूंढो, जाग जाओ इस टाइम। ये बड़ी सिचुएशन खराब है, ये खुशी का समय नहीं है एक्सेशन की पॉलिसी। आई होप सब लोगों को कुछ समझ आ रहा हो, और खासकर वाराणसी वाले लोग, भैया प्रधानमंत्री की कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के लोग, कुछ कर लो वहां। मैं हाथ जोड़ के आप लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं। मैं 47 साल को ये झेल रहा हूं, 1934 से अंबाला को देख रहा हूं, मेरे पास सेल डीड्स हैं, मेरे पास डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं 1793 से। अंग्रेज़ों ने कभी नहीं कहा कि ये ज़मीनें हमारी हैं। उन्होंने कहा अगर हमें आपकी ज़मीन चाहिए होगी हम लैंड एक्विजिशन एक्ट में आपसे पैसे आपको देंगे। बट जैसे ही अचानक 1935-25 आता है, वही अंग्रेज थॉरली डिवाइड एंड रूल पॉलिसी लगा के हमारी जीएलआर को गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया कर देता है ओनरशिप पर। एक चीज़ वो ईमानदारी से लिख के छोड़ जाता है, वो है ओल्ड ग्रांट वर्ड। हमारी जीएलआर में ओल्ड ग्रांट लिखा है ना, चाहे सिविल एरिया हो चाहे बंगलो एरिया हो, बस वो वर्ड आपको बचाएगा। वी आर ओल्ड ग्रांट्स, वी वर नेवर कन्वर्टेड बाय द ब्रिटिशर्स इन 1793 और 1820 इनटू न्यू ग्रांट्स ऑफ द ब्रिटिश बिकॉज वी वर रेवेन्यू फ्री ग्रांट्स। थैंक यू, गुड डे।